David Sturzacker is going to play Gareth Southgate. And you've also got Samantha Womack coming in to play Pippa Grange. Now, explain who Pippa Grange is and what her role was.
Pippa Grange is the most wonderful psychologist, and what she does in her core is she goes into environments and tries to improve and change them. And that can be any workplace. It could be an office, or it could be a school, or it could be a theatre. And she was brought in as one of the psychologists in the England football team to deal with one thing mainly, and that was fear. And they identified really quickly that one of the problems in the England football team, if you remember going way back to 2016, England was at its absolute lowest ebb. We got very used to exiting tournaments really early or not qualifying at all. People's affection for the England football team, the men's football team, had completely vanished, and they knew something was wrong. And there was this narrative that was going around that, the players just don't really care anymore. They're these rich millionaires, and they just don't feel a passion for their sport anymore. And Gareth didn't think that was true. And he thought one of the problems was just the pressure these young men felt when they put on that shirt, more than perhaps arguably other men in other nations. There's something about England, home of the sport. We invented it. Football's coming home. The lads were really struggling and they didn't know how to talk about it. And Pippa Grange opened up a dialogue and brought in a kind of emotional toolkit into the England football team that hadn't been tried before to begin interrogating this problem of fear.
And one of the areas in which that fear manifested itself most clearly was in a penalty shootout.
Yes. There was some data they found when Gareth said, I think we should look at penalties, stare into the darkness and see what's wrong. England was the very worst in the world at penalties. We had never won a World Cup penalty shootout, and it was increasingly the way that we exited the tournaments. The first thing they found when they started to measure penalties was that England men took their penalties the quickest in the world between the whistle and kicking it. They just had to get it over with. And I guess there was a debate in the camp we tried to I tried to dramatise, which is one side of the argument, the sports science side, going, great, so we've found that out, so just make them go slower. And then there was the Gareth Pippa Grange side of the argument, which was going, but why?
Why are they rushing this?
What is it about being an English man that makes them stand at that spot and want it to get over with it as quickly as possible? And so they started asking some probably uncomfortable questions about nationality, masculinity, psychology, emotionality, culture. And they just dug in, and they did that with the players' permission. The players were like, yeah, we want to look at this. We're terrified of that thing. I think as a piece of theatre, it's extraordinary, and I hope we sort of capture that in the play.
It's so well done, and the choreography of it. And you're thinking, well, how can you get people taking penalties, and how can you get a goalkeeper saving penalties?
Right.
It is so well done.
Yeah, we're very lucky. We have these we have an amazing choreographer, Ellen Kane, who did like the Matilda movie and things like that. We have an extraordinary designer, Ez Devlin, who's used to doing like Adele concerts, and she tries to create the feeling of a stadium and what that feels like in these big theatres. There's something about the abstract language of theatre. It's not so literal. It's about getting inside the player's head and the pressure and the heartbeat and the breathing, and then how you use sort of, in a way, it's kind of like modern dance, isn't it? How you move movement and dance to represent the physical act of walking to that spot and striking that ball and reaching to save it. It gets chills in the theatre. It's amazing.